Many people on the autism spectrum are notoriously known for their intense interest, whether it is displayed on a TV from a character or an interaction with someone on the spectrum. There was that one thing that just sparked their attention. That thing that they can talk to you for hours about, on end, and perhaps even devoted their entire life to. Many parents would describe it as their child's passion, special interest, or greatest joy. Others may consider it a fixation, OCD, or just simply, though, an obsession, which is what I consider mine to be, an obsession, which is an idea or thought that continually preoccupies or intrudes a person's mind. Stereotypes often use the examples of being obsessed with trains, numbers, TV, or music. Those things may be true, but our special interests do go beyond just that. My obsession began way back in the first years of my life, when I was introduced to my first pet. It was a calico cat named Pink. I was so in love with her. I dressed up as a cat for Halloween for several years. And soon though, I was introduced to other animals such as dogs and fish. All of the cartoon shows that I would watch had animals in them. I would watch documentaries about animals, and soon my whole wardrobe and room had some kind of animal theme to it. I had started a vast collection in the toy series of My Littlest Pet Shop. My fixation went so deep that when people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would literally say I would want to be a cat, because they did say you could be whatever you wanted to be. Though luckily one school began and I read lots of biology books on animals, and instead I wanted to become a veterinarian. Animals literally became my whole world. It was all I would ever talk about, think about, and spend time around. This didn't really become much of a concern to people because people would just assume I would grow out of it and become more interested and involved in mature subjects, although of course that would never come to happen. And people couldn't seem to figure out why, since the time of my autism was still undiscovered. I would attempt to explain to others of my obsession, such as explain the deep connection I had with animals that I couldn't really replicate among human relationships for the lack of socialization skills. Animals don't expect you to make eye contact. They don't have any sense of sarcasm that I have to interpret, and my audio processing disorder did not get in the way of communication, since it's all body language. So I could build meaningful bonds with all my animals that gave me a sense of happiness and belonging and love. So an obsession like mine, there really didn't seem to be much harm with it, until the moment when I did lose an animal. In my younger years of owning pets, my parents usually covered up the loss of a pet very easily by rehoming them in their elderly years, providing an explanation for their disappearance, such as they ran away or etc. It came to the point that my family avoided movies such as Bambi, where an animal dies, because I would get very upset. So I never faced the death of any animal head-on because my parents did their very best to shelter me from that cruel reality that animals don't last very long. Though around my early preteen years, my family was gifted a very elderly cat that I named Squeaky. Once again, this cat became my whole world, and even though she was a fat 12-year-old calico cat and that had very little interest in me, my parents knew rehoming her would not be an option, and just hoped when her passing came, it would be quick and subtle. Luckily, she spent 5 years in my life until her body began to give up on her. I was well aware of her state because I was well knowledgeable in biology, but I was in denial and I didn't want to give up on her. Though eventually, I had the conversation with my mom suggesting to put her down, and we did go through a thing. My world was absolutely crushed. All that passion and joy I had turned into depression and emptiness. Everyone was afraid that this is what would exactly happen. An obsession gone wrong. Although, thanks to God, it didn't stay that way. I recovered from my heartache and rekindled the passion for animals in my life again. But this time, I took my obsession in a different direction. I didn't make animals my whole entire world because my relationships with other humans are just as important. It just requires me to put a bit more effort into it. I even stepped out from just ordinary cats, dogs, fish, to goats, horses, chickens, and many other farm animals. I also took time to learning to devote time to take care of myself, and not just my animals. Best yet, I shared my obsession with others through social media. I started creating YouTube videos of my goats, and then an Instagram page followed after. I continued to share photos and videos of my other animals. I would appreciate it greatly if you went to go check it out. My goal is to make my YouTube channel my career. Meanwhile, I pursue a degree in biology to hopefully become a veterinarian one day. Having these goals that surrounded my interest in animals made my obsession seem not like a bad thing, but instead something that educates and entertains other people. Though, most of all, I want to inspire others, especially those who are on the spectrum. I want to inspire them to turn their interest into something meaningful, whether they educate, entertain others, or make a career out of it. I hope they do take in mind to take precautions with their obsessions, and do not let them consume your life, since you are so much more than just your special interest.